This is the Barbados Today evening news for Thursday, March 8th. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. Police say there are too many motorists who are not wearing their seatbelts. Assistant Superintendent in charge of the Traffic Department, Ronald Stanford, raised the concerns at a news conference this afternoon to give an update on the new road traffic regulations. He said motorists need to comply with the law for their own safety.
I am surprised from where you said that people are still being reported for that offense. Some mornings I check the morning report, and I see 20, 25. I'm surprised that people are still being reported for this offense. Seatbelts save lives, seatbelt prevent injury. In fact, research done in North America and Europe suggests that they save lives, they save injury up to about 50% of the time. So I would just encourage Barbadians to really wear your seatbelts.
The new law, which bans the use of cell phones while driving, was introduced 2 weeks ago, and Stanford said the public has so far been generally compliant, but he believes there are still too many road traffic offences being committed.
At my department alone, in excess of 20,000 traffic cases were paid last year. We've gone up in some years, gone to 25,000. Anything between 20 and 25.
As Barbados observed International Women's Day today, there has been another call for more women to participate in politics. It came from the Canadian High Commissioner Marie Legault at the W Symposium this morning. Legault said despite progress and a long history of political engagements, women's level of participation in elected politics in the Caribbean stood at only 15%.
Female ministers are also more likely to head ministries traditionally associated with women, such as education, tourism, housing and culture, which I would say is a global trend. In terms of participation, women's participation in politics, Grenada has led the way with 33% women in parliament, and Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago at 31%. Those ratios are higher than the world average, actually. On the opposite side of the spectrum, currently Belize only counts with 9% women in parliament, and St. Kitts, Antigua and Barbuda, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines between 11 and 13. So there is space for progress. In terms of cabinet, Grenada, Dominica, and St. Lucia accounts for 27 to 36%, while Antigua, Barbados, St. Kitts have 7 to 11%, and St. Vincent, as you see, has no women at all in their cabinet currently.
The Ministry of Finance says it is working to relocate the staff of the Treasury Department following environmental issues there. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Nancy Headley, made the announcement today, and she added that officials were currently looking for suitable accommodation to house the nearly 100 staff members. According to her, some employees have already been moved to offices in various government departments, and arrangements are now being made to move the remaining workers by March 19. However, she says the ministry is looking for buildings in central areas to house the entire staff complement, or at least a large number of employees. Headley noted that consultants were brought in January to test the indoor air quality in the Treasury building after staff raised concerns over environmental issues.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. There are reports of a rift between Guyana's Auditor General and the Electoral Commissioner over reports of fraud. We get the details in this report from HGP Nightly News.
Auditor General Deodat Sharma reportedly told sections of the media that he had given GCOM more time to review fraud reports recently. That's before Justice Patterson took over the helm of GCOM. But the utterance of the Auditor General does not find favor with Justice Patterson. In a letter to the press, Mr. Patterson said, I quote, "The Auditor General is presumed to be a man of integrity and does not suffer from any form of cognitive decline, as far as I know. I therefore have to ask rhetorically of him, what are your motives, sir?" Unquote. Mr. Patterson told Nightly News on Wednesday that the Auditor General should stop his threats forthwith to the Commission, particularly to Chief Elections Officer Mr. Keith Lowenfield, and go straight to the police with his concerns.
But where I draw the line is his exporting himself into my territory. And he is telling the Commission, get on with your work, finish by a certain time. And that's absurd. I'm not going to allow that.
Mr. Patterson explained that the Auditor General had carried out an audit of GCOM and pointed out some irregularities, but the Auditor General seemed to be taking a rather strange route to address those irregularities, according to Mr. Patterson. The chairman Forte said in his missive, I quote, "The Auditor General's antics, when unmasked, reveal a departure from the hallowed principle of explore, examine, explain where necessary, and he has delved perilously close to the realm of excessive conduct, unbecoming of his calling and profession."
On the international scene, the U.S. President Donald Trump is pressing ahead with the imposition of 25% tariffs on steel imports and 10% on aluminum, but he is exempting Mexico and Canada. Trump said other countries can apply for exemptions, but there are few details on when they would be granted.
The strong steel and aluminum industry are vital to our national security, absolutely vital. Steel is steel. You don't have steel, you don't have a country. Our industries have been targeted for years and years, decades in fact, by unfair foreign trade practices leading to the shuttered plants and mills, the laying off of millions of workers, and the decimation of entire communities. And that's going to stop, right? It's going to stop. This is not merely an economic disaster, but it's a security disaster. We want to build our ships, we want to build our planes, we want to build our military equipment with steel, with aluminum from our country. And now we're finally taking action to correct this long overdue problem.
And that's news. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and at Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Mary Claire Williams. Good evening.